Science. Our unending drive to understand our world and ourselves is one of the driving forces in humanity's tendency to constantly shoot ourselves in the foot. Curiosity needs to be served, yes, but always remember to temper it with practicality and with your sense of ethics, as in tonight's eerie experiment, a terrible twofer, the Ganzfield experiment and attempt by EvraVon53. First, Evra's description of the experiment. The original purpose of this experiment is to test ESP, or extrasensory perception, pretty much to see if someone is a psychic. This was big in the 1960s and 70s. Now, people just do it to see what happens. Now, in order to do this, you'll need a ping pong ball split evenly across the middle, a good pair of noise-isolating headphones, a comfortable chair, and an MP3 or really any sound recording of pink or white noise, preferably white noise. You'll also need a good source of red light. You'll be putting the red ping pong balls over your eyes and have the red light shine over you so that all that you see is red. You'll also have the white noise playing in your headphones so that the noise will be the only thing that you hear. Make sure someone is with you. Have the person ask you questions, and most importantly, don't fall asleep. During many of my experiments, people would hallucinate. Some descriptions of the hallucinations were really interesting. Sometimes they were just plain creepy. For instance, for a while I saw nothing but bluish-grayish fog. I thought to myself, this is nonsense. But after a while, I was off, completely absent-minded. All of a sudden, I was holding some chalk. I was writing some kind of math formula, and this was all really clear. But then it disappeared. Or, I can see his face. It's still really expressive. Many colors. Or finally, to the right, a mannequin suddenly appeared. He was all in black and had a narrow head, fairly broad shoulders, long arms, very long arms, and a relatively small trunk. He approached me, stretching out his hands, very large, very big. He stayed for a while, but then went away, slowly, to where he'd come from. Reference to Slender Man, maybe? Now, less than half the time, in my experiments at least, the subjects would speak. Most of the time you would have no idea what they were talking about. About, say, 20% of the time, I would ask them questions and they would answer at the right time and addressing the question correctly. It's really neat, but it's strange. There's no way to explain it. Go ahead, try it. There are also a few theories about how you can contact spirits in this state, or how your subconscious mind comes to life through this. Here's what I think. The Ganzfield phenomena is associated with PSI. I don't mean pounds per square inch, I mean the 23rd Greek letter, the one that refers to all kinds of psychic phenomena, experiences, or events that are related to the mind and can't be explained by known principles. Psi is all paranormal and can't really be quantified, therefore Ganzfield phenomena cannot be very well explained. I also think that Ganzfield phenomena isn't the only link associated with Psi either. Monks that can meditate for days at a time without eating or sleeping, oracles from long ago, and priests that pray for hours and then have visions are all associated with this same phenomena. Psi. Now, this is all really cool stuff, even though nobody that I've met can explain it. Some people have had terrifying experiences, but nobody's ever been damaged or stuck in a trance or anything. If you're into paranormal reality theories, like I am, then I encourage you to try this out. And now, the author's attempt. The point of the Ganzfield experiment is to put you into sensory deprivation, that is, removal of stimuli to the senses. This is usually done by putting half ping pong balls over a subject's eyes and having red light shown over them. The subject also wears a pair of noise-isolating headphones and has white or pink noise played through them. This goes on for 30 minutes, and another person tries to send a message by speaking to the subject while everything is recorded by hand or by video. We've made a few alterations to the procedures to better fit what we had to work with at the time. We used a bed instead of a chair, speaking to him for only 10 minutes, but keeping him under sensory deprivation the same way as the original experiment. I found a red light bulb and a ping pong ball upstairs in the dorms. When I'd come up with the idea, my roommate Travis had wanted this to be done to him because apparently he'd heard sayings that strange things happen to people within the Ganzfield effect. I'm pretty sure he just wanted an artificial high. The experiment was kinda interesting. Most of our experiment was recorded, definitely the parts that were of interest, and I may or may not upload the video, however. The recording was rather shameful in quality. Regrettably, about 4 other people heard about our experiment and decided to come in and watch. We started with 2 laptops with white noise in case one or the other crashed, and the spectators became a major distraction. This was because before it started, Travis had said that he hoped the Ganzfield effect caused him pornographic hallucinations. Travis was under, and I know that he couldn't hear them, but they left around minute 15. We, one of the visitors named Paul, stayed, had decided to extend the experiment to 45 minutes rather than to 30. At minute 20, Travis raised his arm and seemed to mutter to himself. This caught us by surprise. I let this continue for about a minute before asking questions, totally random questions such as, where are you from? What are you doing? Why are you here? He responded to all of them on cue, and he'd sometimes be writing in the air with his right hand. It wasn't until the minutes toward the end where Travis began to actually answer the questions I'd asked him, even though not always correctly. He usually, however, addressed the question. But then he started asking me questions. He asked eerie things like, who are they? A few times, as well as, why are they here? When are they coming? And can they be stopped? I came up with random answers, kind of disturbed by this. After asking him, who are you referring to? And getting no response other than them or they, I let him write in the air for another few minutes before switching the lights back on. Now afterwards I asked Travis what he remembered. He said that he remembered his vision going black, but not all the way, which would have been normal, and having a creepy experience. He said he was possibly dreaming, hallucinating, or visualizing normal socialization, but remembered nothing else. We had conversations recorded, and he knew about none of them. He had no idea why he said the things he said, or how he was able to do it. This whole thing creeped me out. Not anymore, though. Travis, though, he hasn't been himself since that day. I've become disconnected with him since then, probably because I'm not his roommate anymore. I would always remind him of the experiment, fooling with him, saying, your strong subconscious will eventually steal your whole mind, and you will cease to be Travis and be some insane person, which horrified him, but things like this experiment just aren't natural. I think that we should all face it and stop trying to disprove it. There are just some things in this world you simply can't explain. I think we all know, though, that there will always be those who just have to try, won't there? Stay scary, my wildlings. Don't lose that temper, and make the most of your nights.